Hey, howdy, party people. Yeah, I'm a little bit late to the party on this one, but today we are going to be looking at the 16-minute gameplay video that they released shortly after the game got officially saved back a few weeks ago. I've been meaning to get around to this one for a little while, just haven't had a good chance, but it's a really cool video, and I just want to kind of go through it, dissect it a little bit, so why don't we just hop right in and have a look. And I'm not going to try to, pause constantly, so I'm just going to talk over it as best I can, alright? First of all, it just looks absolutely gorgeous, It's the detailed textures, it's just the atmospheric effects, the models, the animations. It all just looks so nice. The foliage in particular is just very strongly stylized. Of course, the combat is just like nothing else, right? And I mean, of course, it's like a few other things, takes inspiration from various things, but in the block game space, it's very special. Now, you notice there, they destroyed some of the blocks when they were swinging their weapons. I feel like this is one of those, you know how Minecraft has a couple of those game rules that everybody just toggles, like keep inventory and whatnot? I definitely feel like this is one of those ones where it's like, there's gonna be people that want to play with block destruction with weapons on, and some who want to play with it off. The lighting looks fantastic here. Zone 1 is always such a great example of what the lighting is capable of. I know it's not the fancy, new engine lighting that everybody was excited for, myself included, but I think it looks absolutely stunning already, and it's something that they can improve as time goes on, perhaps even surpassing what they had accomplished on the new engine. Because the new engine was, for everything it might have been capable of, not necessarily equivalent to what it had already accomplished. Did it lose a limb there? I'm sorry, I gotta rewind. Totally looks like you lost a limb, right? Yeah, I think so, right? Here, let's have a closer look. It's that arm. No, okay, he just drops bones when you hit him. That's interesting, though. It's very nice looking flowers, very, very familiar looking flowers, but very nice. He's picking up sticks on the ground. Man, I love the way stuff like that looks. Just like little items and stuff sitting on the ground. Now, I should mention that Simon has said a lot of the stuff in this video got outdated, like, within the same day it got posted. And it's been several weeks since then, so the game might look very different. The stream there looked so nice, man. And the weapon variety is really just so nice. Because, I mean, in Minecraft, I don't know about you, but I don't find myself hitting people with shovels very often, or axes. Yes, technically there are differences, but they're mostly statistical, They don't have a different game feel. These weapons have drastically different game feel, emphasized especially by the excellent sound design in this game. It just seems like it's going to be so incredibly satisfying to perform any of these moves. Nice reload. What interests me about this section is that Simon's able to get away pretty easily. Sorry, I had an ad. I forgot this account doesn't have a premium on it. I don't know if maybe it's because the AI pathing isn't quite finished, but I have to imagine that's playing some role in his ability to get away. That might not look quite the same when early access actually launches. Just a beautiful scene there, isn't it? All right, you got a nice bit of mace combat here. Personally, I'm really just curious to see what the axe feels like, and more than anything, the bow and crossbow. I love ranged weapons. I think more than anything, I want to use magical weapons, and just a classic sword and shield is fine by me. But in most games, I will either be the magic guy or the bow and arrow guy. So I imagine I will end up doing much the same in this game. Okay, eating an apple to heal. It's so interesting, stuff like that. So you can press F to pick up lavender, or probably those mushrooms, or sticks, rubble, you name it. What happens if you break them? Same deal? Does it just drop them as an item? If you break them with, say, a special sickle or a hoe or something, do they drop a few more? I find that interesting. Okay, here we are in a Scarrick cave. The Scarricks look very cool, man. It's just so nice to just see them in action a little bit. And by cool, I mean horrifying, but you know, also cool. I just love how dark Hytale can be sometimes. I know it's something that some people are, like, not entirely into, but, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's gonna make watching YouTube videos probably a little aggravating, like Minecraft has always been, where you're sitting there going, place a torch, come on, just place a torch, I can't see anything. But as far as gameplay goes, it serves a real gameplay purpose. It's this game's version of Fog of War, basically, outside of its actual Fog of War that you can see in the map. I don't know, I think the darkness is particularly interesting in Zone 4, especially in the caves down in Zone 4, but just anywhere underground. And it just allows for a little bit more visual variety. It's the same premise as an OLED screen, right? Black or blacks. You want deep, rich blacks. And, you know, popping, vibrant colors. And that's what having more darkness in your game allows for. Looks like you escaped some sort of like automated patrol, maybe? We've seen mobs like that just kind of roaming around, but it's really interesting to see. I can't wait to just walk around in this game, man. Just explore, build stuff, plot out new little areas. So here we see some sort of horrifying tree monster, kind of looks like Trevenant from Pokemon. I hope I'm thinking of the right one. People have theorized this might have something to do with the Quebecs. It's possible. It's something we haven't really seen before, and I know there's that one screenshot where you can see the very edge of something that might be it. Listen, I don't know, but it's pretty cool looking. It's not the only threat around, though. Huh? So this totem here, I guess it's a healing totem. When I first saw it, I was like, oh, it's to regen your stamina faster, because the stamina was regenerating really fast, but no, the icon would imply that it's probably a healing totem. That and the green color of the effect. Here we see him downing a void eye with a bow, which is pretty wild, you know? And then just fighting off some little void crawlers. This is a really good example of how all the weapon variety can lead to some pretty cool strategies for engaging with enemies. And the void eye looks just super cool here. I'm a big fan of beholders in Dungeons and Dragons and beyond. I mean, the void eyes are just so sick, you know? Here we see him jumping down into an ice cave. The caves of Zone 3 are something I'm curious to learn more about. What's really down there? You know, what makes them special compared to the other zones' underground areas? There might not be much right now, you know, but here we see him finding a little structure. A little ruined camp, I guess. See some bats. I love bats. Can't wait to hang out with some bats. Alright, you see a little bit of ore on the side there. It's very reflective, very shiny. That's nice. So even if you're in pitch dark, you can still see ore. I appreciate that. I think that's reasonable. It's a really nice scene here, though. Some sitting water everywhere, some ice everywhere. It's nice. Okay, so here we are in a swamp biome, as you can tell by the thick green haze. Lush big bush. So does that just pick up the whole bush? Do you get any sticks with it, you know? Did it drop anything? Can you place it back down? Now, there are these little beacons where all the items are. I find that really interesting. Now, I do think we should pause here just for a second, because I want to look at a few of the things here. So you can see pocket crafting and what appears to be some other section of crafting. That might be related to a backpack. It kind of looks like a barrel with like a little rope handle sticking out of it, but it's kind of hard to tell. You know, we don't know for sure. You see the crafting here, is as many people have talked about, is not grid-based crafting. I am totally okay with this. That was really fun in Minecraft for a few years. It was like a really cool, interesting idea that nobody had really seen before. But when you hop back into Minecraft now, you know, sometimes it's just kind of a pain, right? Because, like, I know what the recipes are. Why do I have to sit here filling them in? And then sometimes I do forget, and then I feel stupid. You know, maybe that's just me. But I am totally cool with more Terraria-style crafting. Especially if this game is going to be highly expandable, highly moddable. I think this is more than okay. And it reduces the necessity of something like just enough items in Minecraft, you know? I'm sure you'll still have stuff like that where you can browse items from the inventory But I think this is a good compromise, and it's interesting to see. So right now he can craft what appears to be a fire with a rotating stick with a handle, so you can probably cook meat with that. You can see a crude torch, they call it, which requires a stick, tree sap, and plant fiber. Obviously, you know, we've seen him pick up sticks, tree sap, and plant fiber. Not hard to guess where those come from. I'm pretty sure it's plants. Or Quebecs. Then you see some sort of crafting bench. This is probably how you unlock some less rudimentary crafting. You know, something a little bit slightly more advanced. You see some sort of I guess it's a sword. Maybe it's more of a knife made out of some basic materials, and then an axe and a pickaxe. So you don't see something like a shovel. If I had to guess, it might be that the pickaxe can be used to mine soil just as efficiently as stone, you know? We know that the shovel has been mentioned as being recently implemented, and its purpose being digging in larger chunks, basically. Sort of AoE mining, or digging, I guess. So I would have to imagine that the pickaxe probably works just as well on soil as it does on stone, unlike Minecraft, of course, not to keep making comparisons. Something else I find interesting, you know, Minecraft, you can easily create wood planks with just your inventory, you know, pocket crafting. Here, we see he's got lots of different log types here. He's got, I think, 4 different types of log, if I'm not mistaken. No, sorry, 5. I didn't see the silver ones there. And yet he can't make any kind of planks at all. However, I would assume that they are used to create that crafting bench. He's also got a couple of other interesting odds and ends. He's got what appears to be a health potion or some other kind of potion. He's got some fungus, spores, seeds to the left of that. I'm not sure. It looks like he's got some sort of animal skins or leather. 2 different types of it. You know, he's got some rubble. Of course, he's got, you know, one big pile of crap. And, you know, a few different weapons. What I'm curious about is number 7. Is that the healing rune that we saw before, or is it some sort of a specialized plant? Kind of looks like a, you know, like the mandrakes from Harry Potter. Kind of reminds me of that a little bit. Or some sort of disgusting rotten carrot. It's kind of hard to say. Now, there are also 2 pages here, or perhaps they're pouches, recipes, blueprints, I'm not sure. One appears to have some sort of a heart on it, or maybe it's some kind of special fruit. And you see one that has what I believe to be plant fiber on it. Now, I don't know if that's like a stack of that item or some sort of recipe pertaining to that item. If it's plant fiber on that one, I would assume it's a use for plant fiber. It's like, here's how you unlock a recipe of some kind that uses plant fiber. But, yeah, we have no way of knowing. You also see a simple little gear UI on the left here. So you got head armor, chest armor, hand armor, and leg armor. Then you also have an offhand section, which they have the shield in. Now, we know that the offhands can be cycled with a wheel, which I think is interesting. So I wonder if I say held out the wheel, and then I had my shield equipped, and then I switched torch, is it going to pull a torch from my inventory and move it there? Who knows? Or maybe you can press this button, and then it pops up with a wheel, and you slot those things in there. I don't know if it's shortcutted, or if they actually act as inventory slots as well. I have to imagine it's more like a shortcut. Then you have this button, which appears to be for the pocket crafting, since it's highlighted. That, or maybe it's for repairing your items. That's also possible. Then you have a backpack slot, I would assume. These look more like buttons than slots for putting things in. But I might be mistaken. But that's very clearly a backpack. So that's how you access your backpack inventory, I guess. Or where you put a backpack once you create one or collect one. Then this one here looks like some kind of a potion, I guess. So maybe that's, rudimentary alchemy has its own kind of system in the inventory. But yeah, everything here is very interesting. You can also access the map. We see the debug little icons up there. We've seen those a little bit. You know, it's nothing too crazy, but it's interesting. It's also a search bar there, so that's pretty cool. I feel like this game is, yes, people have mixed feelings about the way that the modding works. I'm no expert, so I don't really want to speak on that technical stuff too much, but I think there are game design elements here that are clearly built for lots and lots of mods. So I think that's a nice touch. Okay. Oh, okay, there's seed bags. Yeah, there we go. Wild grass seed bag. So that's interesting. So I guess that's how you grow stuff. That raises even more questions about what would happen if you knock down one of like if you collect one of what was it like a lush bush, right? If you collect one of those, does it give you seeds for it, or does it just give you materials related to it? I'm very curious to see how those little minute things work in this game. Okay. Awesome skybox, by the way. Looks absolutely gorgeous. Excuse me. Cough for a moment there. Now, it looks like that tree has roots that go into the ground. There's a log in the ground. Not sure how I feel about that. That could be a little irritating. But it's kind of cool, too, you know? I mean, trees don't just reach the ground and stop. Now, there's some sort of ghostly creature here. Like some sort of, phantom or wraith. It's pretty cool looking, though. Can't be an easy enemy to fight if 13 Ghosts is anything to go by, right? There's another Void Eye over there, another Void Crawler. Now, this is that kind of a glowing blue environment that we see in some of the screenshots we've gotten in the past, where we just don't know if it's like its own biome or what. And then, boom, we're in Zone 2. We just saw him walk from one zone to another. I don't know if we've ever really seen that before. We've seen a few pictures that include multiple biomes, sure, but it's nice just seeing him walk from one to another. Now, hold on, there we saw how how it works. Okay, so it does pop up a wheel there. Okay, so he has nothing in that slot now, so he moves the shield in, hovers over it, and it gives him a wheel to access. Now, he doesn't have any torches in his inventory, so they do act like slots, not shortcuts. That's really interesting. Okay, we're seeing some more of those two block mantles. It's pretty neat to see, you know. Just running around in this game looks like it'll be pretty satisfying. Of course, stamina is going to be a big factor, but I'm okay with it as long as they give us interesting means of transportation other than walking and running. We know that the hot air balloon may or may not be on the table, but what other options are there? You know, what kind of mounts? So far, we know about horses and rams, right? But how do they work? You know, what are the drawbacks? What are the requirements? How do you get them? I mean, I can guess where the mobs spawn, but you know, what do you need saddles and gear for them, or do you have to feed them, tame them some other way? I can't imagine the animal husbandry is particularly in depth yet, but it could be. You know, it could be getting there. It probably will get there someday. It's like a void rat there. Sorry about that. Got another ad. But I love all these big fossils you find in Zone 2. I want to see what those were. I want to see the living versions. Or at least I want to see artwork of them or more information about them. What kind of creatures were those? Were those dinosaurs? I mean, dinosaurs obviously exist in the world of Orbis. Did they once roam the entire world like ours? So here we are in a swamp again. Love the vibes here. I'd love to do like a Princess and the Frog inspired build out here. Make Mama Odie's shack. That'd be fun. Huge, big old mountainous area there. I mean, not even a mountain so much as like a really large mesa. Really cool looking though. I just love the way it looks and sounds just to hit enemies. Now you see, it kind of backed off and cowered away and blocked for a minute there. So I don't think the AI is quite as basic as walk at you and M1 until you die or it dies, you know, whichever comes first. I do think there's a little bit more to it. I'm sure it's not fully rounded out yet. Ooh, there's a little hut out there. Oh, that looks cool, like a little watchtower. God, I want to go see what that is. I want to get in this game and I want to explore, you know. I just wish I could be playing it right now. 31 days. 1 month. Or, you know, more like 30, I guess. I will say, this game's a look very different when I'm playing. Yeah, because I was going to say, I'm going to be placing torches everywhere. Every 5 blocks. I love lighting up areas. It's very satisfying. Yeah, I love the look of these trees. It's a little strange, you know, but I think once you get used to it, it's just going to add so much to the atmosphere of each biome, having these really varied trees and plant life. It's so cool. What do you mean World Gen V2 is gonna look better than this? What do you mean it's gonna look better than this? It's crazy. This is gorgeous. It's absolutely stunning. Hytale is not just gonna be a great block game someday. It's just gonna be a great game. It's doing things that are wholly its own, that represent an entirely unique identity, you know? And it just seems like a huge world, too, doesn't it? I can't wait to explore it over and over. I want to just run around the whole world, see it all, build everywhere, create little stories, become part of the existing story, you know, once it gets, you know, brought out a little more. And even before then. Oscar Garvin, you spoil us. What a song. His use of vocals, excellent. It's very Metroid-esque, if I may say so. I love those fences. I love all of these ropes. I cannot wait to create builds using these things. Is that a bat? Is that some... Yeah, it's a bat. I was gonna say, is it like a two-headed crow? It's nice to see... Oh, yeah, I'm gonna use the bow as an opener and then move into the sword once I get a little bit closer. I guarantee he's gonna switch weapons once he drags them all out here. Using the bow as he tries to run away a little bit. Get used out of that AoE ability it has. Switch back to the sword. Zone 4 is interesting, isn't it? Like, the surface of Zone 4. We don't know a lot about it. I'm a little worried it might be kind of plain, you know? And also, are there so many things that make you naturally want to descend into the caves that you won't really miss them? Because I feel like there'll be some players that, you know, by the time you get to Zone 4, maybe they're like, I've done enough mining. I can always return to Zone 1 and mine. Are they just going to miss out on all the cool stuff underneath the surface in Zone 4? That's what I worry about. Because the caves of Zone 4 are, like, the coolest part of the game so far, other than, like, you know, Zone 1 for me. I don't know. It's interesting. So also, there's so many plants. So many strange, unique little plants. What are they all used for, you know? If anything, at the moment. Really cool enemy design. Wonder what his deal is. Just clicking around there, man. Come on. Come on. You know I gotta stop and pause. What are you doing to me? Okay, so we got 4 categories. Blocks, furniture, gear, and then what appears to be creative tools. So I'm guessing he's in creative mode here. You also see some crystals down at the bottom. Now, crystals play an important part in the overall kind of magic, I don't know if you want to say systems, because he said there aren't really systems per se, but the magical elements of Hytale. Each zone appears to have some sort of special crystal you need to collect. And we know crystals are used with the portals that he keeps teasing. So obviously that's a factor. Now here you got a few interesting blocks. You have stalagmites rather. At least I assume that's what they are. You got some different colored, just flat color blocks. You have what appear to be crystals. They could be a lot of things though. They might be differently colored scarab eggs. You never know. I don't think they are, but just interesting to think about. You also see what appears to be a spotlight. If you can create spotlights and closely control the lighting of your builds the way you can in like a Frontier game like Planet Coaster 2, that would be awesome. I would go nuts for that. Okay, I'm not gonna go through all of these, but you see roofs. There's 2 different kinds of blocks in the block category. There's 2 different ones there that are just, you know, cubes. It's hard to say what those are about, but this one seems to have a lot more natural materials like, you know, soil, dirt, stone, leaves, snow. It's very interesting. Then here you have, you know, more specialized, fancy stuff. You got buckets, cauldrons or baths, some sort of magical cauldron. You got more buckets. You got, I don't know what the hell some of this is. It looks like a clock, maybe? or a snowman's face if you stepped on a snowman and he was flattened. You got like a conch, fire, Christmas lights, jack-o'-lanterns, which, you know, I'm all about that. You got a inkwell. You have a Quebec toy of some kind. Lanterns, papers, bottles, ropes, scarecrows, cobwebs, doors, starfish, mugs or tankards, targets for target practice, collars for presumably for dogs or other animals. And then you got what appear to be either canvas panels like you'd see in like Dutch houses or even Eastern houses, or maybe they're canvases you could paint on. I would be a little surprised if they had that baked into the game, just for security and, you know, parental control purposes, as it were. But they look really interesting, whatever they are. They might just be, you know, windows too. Goes over to the map. The map in this game looks so nice. I know he just whipped this up recently, and it's still being worked on, but even just off the bat, doesn't it just look awesome? I love it. I love it so much. I can't wait to start exploring the initial area in Zone 1, and as I keep building stuff and exploring more, watching the map change and grow and develop, oh, I cannot wait to be playing this game, man. I am so excited. You see some structures there too. So here you see creation tools. You got asset editor, model editor, world gen editor, world tools, builder tools, machinima, and help. That help section is probably going to be pretty interesting to go through early on. Obviously the machinima tools, unbelievable. The world gen editor, it's an interesting button. I don't know if this was added before or after World Gen V2 began development, but I'm very curious about that. The asset editor, probably going to be unbelievably cool to have. If you don't know, anything you see in Hytale, you can use the asset editor to just kind of modify its stats, its traits, its actions, whatever you like. We don't know to what extent you can change things, but it sounds really cool from what they've talked about. I think we don't know enough about it to really talk about it too much, but it sounds really cool. The model editor, I suppose you can just swap models on things you see in the world of Orbis. Not entirely sure. World tools is interesting too. I assume that's, well, I mean, it is separate from builder tools, so not sure what that's all about, but curious to find out. Maybe that changes universal aspects of Orbis, like the gravity or the difficulty. I'm not sure. Well, I guess we'll have to find out. Okay, so the asset editor uses an external program. Oh, okay, model editor just opens Blockbench. Gotcha. Edit how worlds are generated. Okay, so the world tools includes a prefab editor, prefab list, spawn NPC, spawn particle. Hell yeah, I love particle controls. Again, just like Planet Coaster 2 or several other Frontier games. Change player model, tint chunk, which I guess is so you can tell where chunks begin and end, and instances. The instance system is going to be so useful to have in this game. I am so excited about instances, because it's not just for dungeons, man. You can do all kinds of stuff with these, including specialized story stuff. Adventure maps in Hytale are going to be so cool, alright? It's going to be awesome. Just you wait. Okay, builder tools is, you know, block editing tools, selection, brush, sculpt, etc. So that's the stuff that we see in the creative gameplay video, which I do hope to go over at some point. And then the help section right now, the only category is commands. So that's, yeah, that's alright. I'm sure they'll add more stuff later on. So here we can see him going into the spawn NPC section. See Archaeopteryx at the top. Yeah, I talked about that in my dinosaur video. If you haven't seen it, go give it a watch. But I'm really excited to see what the Archaeopteryx looks like, if it's actually implemented and everything. It's a really cool dinosaur, really good one to have. You got armadillos, bats, you know, bears, both grizzly and polar, bisons, bison calves, bluebirds, bluegills, boars, boar piglets, bunnies. So you see there's some younger variations of some of these. So I think animal husbandry it's got a good foundation to build upon for the future. And you can rotate them. You can set the number that you want to spawn in. He goes through a lot here. I'm not going to read all of them, but you do see some interesting stuff, including both fire and frost dragons, dungeon scarix and skeletons. So, you know, some stuff set up specifically for dungeons. A few different Pharons here. You got burrowers, civilians, cubs, longtooths, sharptooths, and windwalkers. So Farrens are pretty well developed as far as, different models go, different types of them. Obviously, we don't know if all of this stuff is implemented and configured, but still, pretty cool to see. Empty_roll. Wonder what that's all about. Oh, we just slapped him and ran. So he's upping the game speed or his speed. Probably his speed, I guess. Yeah, looks like just his speed. Because the Trorks weren't moving any faster. So cool to just see all the biomes together, just see the world gen. The rivers look gorgeous. God, I can't wait to just build in this game. I just want to build 1,000 houses and cool little things. Okay. Anyway, now we get to something interesting. A gun. So this is something that is modded in. It's not, in the game by default. The assets might be there if you want to pull them out and, configure them yourself. But it's not something like, oh, I got to Zone 3. I opened a chest and got an assault rifle. No, that's not how it works. There's kind of a red outline around that item to say that it's developer only. At least that's the theory. I don't know if Simon's confirmed that, but that has been the pattern so far with things like that. Blue common mushrooms. So here we're placing an ancient gateway. Slow down here. This is the last thing. So he's got an ancient gateway. It's just a whole thing in his hotbar there. So it shows you sort of an outline where it's going to place it. That's really cool. I wonder if we're going to have other things like this, like furniture. Is it going to kind of show us what it looks like and let us rotate it and stuff? I mean, there's a rotate button here, so I guess that's how placing things like this works, which is, that's nice. I like that. Good quality of life. He's got 3 different crystals with him. So you press F to interact, but he moves over to the crystal first. So if you press F to interact without having a crystal at all, I wonder if something different happens, if it tells you, hey, you got to go get one. So this one says Fragment, Orbis, Bleakroot Bog. So he, I'm guessing, presses F or maybe right-clicks, but and then it says Ancient Gateway, Fragment, Bleakroot Bog, time limit 10 minutes, Summon Portal. He presses that, the gateway starts moving on its own. It assembles with the crystal at the base, and a portal is formed. This is pretty interesting, huh? Now, given what we've heard in recent times, World Gen V2 is not implemented into the base world that you spawn in, but rather is accessed somehow through these portals. And it seems like it's a crystal leads you to a specific biome. So you get to explore, I don't know if it's infinite or if it's in a localized area, you get to explore a new version of a biome. Or a new biome altogether. Something with World Gen V2 involved. In this case, a Bleakroot Bog. It's interesting that it says Orbis specifically, so I wonder if maybe they're still going to use Ultraverses eventually. I don't suspect that's a high priority for them at the moment, but, it's on the table. And so there we are. That is the 16-minute Breaking the Curse combat gameplay video that we had. I know I didn't talk too much about the combat, but I think it's been analyzed to death, so it's more interesting to look at the other things. I mean, this is just straight up, exploration mode survival gameplay. So I think that's pretty interesting in and of itself. Of course, the combat does look excellent, and I'm really excited to give it a full, proper try once the game is actually in our hands a month from now. But, yeah, everything looks awesome about the game so far. I really don't need to have the deep mechanics that it's got the roots for to be fully fleshed out just yet. I'm excited just to hop in, play this game, make some builds, explore the fundamentals, just the classic things that make a game like this. And, yeah, and we don't have to wait long. It's hard to believe it's only a month away. It's been 7 years to this day that the trailer released. It's unbelievable. Just unbelievable. I remember that day like it was yesterday. And, it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. There's not a lot I can say that hasn't been said about it, but man, it is just too cool. We are so lucky as Hytale fans, But anyway, that'll do it for this video, alright? So I got more coming out. Don't worry. I got something lined up. I'm almost done running it. And I just got to record and edit it. That's all. Alright? And we got more stuff coming up even after that. And we're just waiting now for the game, right? It's pretty awesome. It's getting close. It's getting close. Get your time off work, alright? Lord knows I'm trying to. Alright. Well, that'll do it. Thank you guys for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe if you so wish. And I will catch you guys in the next one.